And hello. Welcome back to the Starbright podcast. This is episode 27, and I think the general overall topic, not that we'll probably end up sticking to it, via Mouse's suggestion, was kink in holidays, or holidays in kink. I'm not one. Is there a difference between them? Really?
I mean, one the same. One the same. Just how kink can be around the holidays and how to put a little holiday in your kink.
I
Oh, yeah, that was the sexy Santa, is what brought that up, isn't it?
think so.
I don't remember, but I definitely have some really, really saucy Santa pics.
I mean, given that he's usually depicted as an older, bearded man who essentially acts as a global sugar daddy by giving away presents, I guess people being into him isn't terribly surprising.
He is kind of in that caregiver role, isn't he? Aren't we all just Santa's littles? If you think about it.
Oh my.
He wants us to be nice. Unfortunately, a lot of us get on the naughty list.
It really is just kink if you look at it.
He knows if you are sleeping. He knows it when you're awake.
Ooh, Santa Somno. Ooh, holy shit. I don't know how I feel about that.
I know what you're going to do, though. You're going to go make some memes.
You sure as fuck bet I will.
Quality content right there.
Oh my God.
Now I've got this whole series of cursed memes running through my head. This is what's going to go through my head when everyone else has got sugar plums dancing. Just me like, oh my God, why? I have
I
to
think
make these now.
the holidays are kind of when you can just have some funny little spice in your scenes, you know? It's
Honestly.
nothing really
The
too serious. Everybody's just having a jolly old time.
I mean, to be
God.
fair, doesn't like the majority of like new children being born aren't they like, isn't conception like linked to a lot of the major holidays?
Valentine's Day being a
Hmm.
big one.
Oh, yeah. And remember, everyone's more likely to be home from work on the holidays. And when you aren't having to wake up the next day, you're more likely to want to, do some stuff.
Between New Year's and Christmas. A lot of
Hmm.
people get in that New Year's first kiss.
New Year's first kiss, because that's all. That's where babies come from, kids.
I mean, there's a lot of people who do the scenes where they don't, where they act like they don't know each other and like meet up in
Mhm.
bars and things like that for their first kiss, for
It's true.
things
Some
like
role
that.
play. Some role play.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Actually, yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's really common in like role play CNC scenes. It could be just benign things like that lead into, a spiked drink role play
Hmm.
or just a drunk role play. I've seen a lot of people who are really into like the role playing, getting drunk, and being taken home from the bar thing. Doesn't personally appeal to me, but like some people, instead of like doing the real thing, they want to role play it, which is obviously much safer.
Are you saying it doesn't appeal to you because it's not the real?
Well, I don't drink either.
I can kind of see the appeal of it, mainly because when I do just like go out drinking with friends and stuff, I'm typically the mom friend of the group.
Yeah.
I don't, I can't stay drunk. So if it's just a planned scene like that,
Yeah.
it'd be way more comfortable knowing that I'm going to be looked after throughout
Yeah.
the whole time of it.
It's a lot safer because you're not necessarily going to go home with a guy who might be an axe murderer. You never fucking know. So if
Hmm.
it's something that you've had, a good time doing, some people like the thrill and the adventure. I don't personally drink. I have a lot of medical reasons not to, but
Hmm.
also I just don't like it. Drinking gives me an insane headache and I don't even get a fun buzz. I just go straight into migraine. So for me, it's just not a good time. I don't enjoy it. So I just don't.
Hmm.
Not my
I don't know.
thing.
I kind of like the idea of ending up in a forest in a cabin with actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Hold up.
Yeah. Yeah, that does sound like your thing. Even better if they were tentacles, huh?
Using a gnaw off your foot
There it
from
is
a
again.
bear trap.
Here it is again.
I love that Discord
I want
just
everyone to
decided
note
his
before we
voice
started
didn't
this
even matter there.
Before we started this episode, I was accused of bringing up tentacles in the last couple episodes again. I didn't bring them up. It was Mouse every time.
Yeah,
Here it
this
is.
was definitely me since we're talking about your fantasies.
Oh my
That's a great Halloween roleplay right
Why?
there.
Why do you project this idea
I'm
that
not
I should
projecting,
be
buddy.
into tentacles?
This was all you. Who was it that sent the Grinch tentacle thing last year? Do you remember that? Because it wasn't me who posted it. I'm pretty sure it was you.
Listen, just because I happened to find that. Speaking of holiday and kink, yeah, Grinch tentacles. Think about it, guys. Buy the costume.
What was it? It grew 10 sizes that day, and it was just a giant
That's right. That's
dick. It's like 4 images combined.
nothing wrong with it. All right. And some people have that kind of kink. They want to be,
Not,
the feeling
sure,
something expanding inside.
If your thing is Grinch tentacles, I'm not judging you at all. I'm just really, really wondering how you got there. Like, what was
That's
the
a good
path,
question.
the journey you went down to be like, you know what?
I mean, tentacles in general engenders that thought in me. Like, what got you there? What about tentacles is exciting to someone? Because like that's not even like tentacles exist, and that scares me.
No, I have definitely seen things. It's a thing. I
Like,
spend time on Reddit, and every so often something comes across my feed that I have to really fucking ask myself why.
Mhm.
It's slippery and slidey.
Yeah, no. My stomach actually turned a little bit when you said that.
No.
You'd rather spend time thinking about hot Colonel Sanders.
Oh my god. Did we say that
I have
last
the
time
art.
in the podcast, or was that outside of the podcast? I feel
No,
like it could have
we
gone either
talked.
way.
We talked about it during the podcast. I'm pretty sure.
I
In
think
fact,
that's
I know
what
that for a
led
fact.
us to talking about Santa.
Yep.
Yeah, that could.
Did you
yeah.
look more into that? Are you going to pick up Colonel Sanders dating simulator? You
Did
gonna
not, but
you
I'm
gonna
not,
you gonna
if
experiment with the
somebody wants to
36
get that
original
for me for
spices?
Christmas, I wouldn't say no.
Uh-huh.
That's how you do it, Mouse. I approve.
Looking for a sugar
Honestly,
daddy.
that would be a pretty legendary tier Christmas gift. Just forget everything else on your shopping list. That's what you get everyone. And
Mouse
if
is
they
just gonna
ask
be
questions, refuse to answer.
get everyone. Mouse is just gonna be in a throuple with Santa and Colonel Sanders.
Look,
To get ice and
fried
sour.
chicken and sugar daddy. I mean, is that really that bad? I ask you.
I mean, Colonel Sanders is pretty rich too, so
Right?
he'll take you to Japan. Japan actually does do that. They do the fried chicken bucket in
they
Japan.
They do.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny.
They actually a lot of the art for like the Colonel Sanders dating simulator and a lot of like the stuff we were posting in the
Oh God, the stuff we post in the Discord is just fucking cursed. You guys
it
should know that our channel that is just for like our private chat outside of the podcast, like it is for the podcast, but like what we discuss where you guys can't see it, it's just unhinged memes.
But a lot of the
Just so
Colonel
you know.
Sanders art that was in there that comes from Japan because they're the commercials that they do for Colonel Sanders and some of the artwork that they do. They don't. He's not like fat old man like he's drawn here in the States. He's drawn like
drawn like
superhero
daddy, yeah.
ideal. Yeah, oh yeah, 100,000.
Yeah.
And that's where
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of that
guys.
comes.
It's fucking hilarious. But no, I actually saw Popeyes advertising chicken for Christmas this year in the US.
Yep.
Which I thought was a fucking bold move. Like they're trying to be the KFC of the US here.
I don't
I-
think they'll pull it off.
I have a problem with KFC in that they have good food. Generally,
So,
like I mean, you can't fuck up fried chicken, but like
Yes, you
it's so
can.
expensive. It's so fucking expensive. I know prices on
Absolutely
everything have
fuck up
risen,
fried
but
chicken.
It's like $45 for like a 10-piece bucket. Like what the?
Yeah.
The fact that I can
Cost is
buy the
high.
chicken raw myself and make it for way cheaper.
Oh my
is-
God, so much.
Yeah, my regional fried chicken is way better than KFC, so I just
Mhm.
never get KFC.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And when I lived in New York, there was I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the place. It began with a Z, but it's like world famous fried chicken, and like you can go to KFC or you can go to a place that legitimately has world famous fried chicken. Like I
So
mean,
I won't give away where I live here, but I live in a place that's known for its fried chicken. And we have a very unique style. And when I think, oh God, I want some fried chicken, I'm not thinking of KFC. I want to go to the local place and everyone has their favorite chicken house. I know where I want to go because yeah, I have a preferred chicken house. If I want fried chicken, I'm not going to KFC.
no, I mean, here's the thing. Like, unless you're doing really well, fried chicken is just fried chicken. I don't. There's not much of a KFC or any other like chicken place. Like, unless they're really good. I go to fried chicken places for the sides. That's to
Yeah.
me, yeah. And KFC, I like KFC mac and cheese. So like, I'm happy
And
enough to get KFC for the mac.
hold on. I'm going to see if I can pull up a picture of the local fried chicken sides here because it's unique.
I wonder if I could find the name of the place back in New York. But like,
Is it?
oh, it was
I
so
don't
good.
know. Like,
So
It was like
random question.
it was like.
After you go.
Oh no, I was gonna
we're
say
all
the one
googling
in New
fried
York was
chicken
like in
right now,
a
guys, just to
really
be clear what's going on.
was in a really like weird place out of the way on Long Island, and it's like if you were coming in LaGuardia, it was like near LaGuardia, but it was like you kind of have to drive out of the way to get.
Oh,
But they were legitimately famous.
Since we
all that just to find a picture of fried chicken for you guys.
love it.
A holy mission.
Since we got talking about gifts and stuff.
I found it. It's Zorn's on Long Island, a very 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 famous fried chicken. And they have the best rice pudding I've ever had in my entire life, and I love rice pudding. Oh.
There's a rice dish that's really popular with the fried chicken locally, and honestly, I make it at home because it's so fucking good. It's my favorite. I, if I'm wanting the fried chicken locally, I'm literally just wanting the side. There's one side that I absolutely fucking love, and now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to make it for dinner. When I get home, I
I
might
don't.
be making this.
There's the best chicken near us. Honestly, is not from a chicken place. There's a pancake house near us, Blueberry Hill Pancake
Okay.
House, and they are a chain. But the one near us is really good, and they have grilled chicken breast and a couple different things on the menu. And something the specific spice mix they use for grilling that chicken breast is like chef's kiss. I usually they do a cordon bleu croissant sandwich, and it's not really a cordon bleu. It's just a croissant with ham and Swiss cheese and chicken on it. So it's just a chicken sandwich basically with ham and Swiss cheese. But like, oh, it's the chicken just makes it what it is. It blows
Mm-hmm.
everything else out. They do the same thing. They have like teriyaki chicken, and it's fried with the same spice blend. It's just like it just has with teriyaki sauce then added on top of it. And it's like, oh, it's so.
Right. Oh, I'm thinking about food now. My stomach's growling.
I don't know. Nothing. No part of this has anything to do with kink and holidays anymore.
So as I was
Look.
asking.
Look, we are who we are, and who we are is ADHD.
We brought up gifts earlier. What kinky gifts would you give?
God.
No.
You ask a question like that, and the better question in this case is what the fuck wouldn't I give? That's just who I am. I would give unhinged gifts.
So like
But
the
honestly, it's a good time to give all sorts of toys, anything you wouldn't normally get or want to, splurge on. It would be a good time to splurge on all sorts of things. Hell, Lovense just gave me a big pop up that they are apparently doing like a buy one toy, get 12 free gifts. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I don't even want to know what they're going to send.
That's fucking nice.
12? What are they sending?
You're gonna have to find.
I had questions. Yeah, I had questions. I did not want those questions answered necessarily, but if somebody finds out, let me know.
So the thing is like, I'm struggling to think of. I'm struggling to think of like a sexy, kinky gift that I would give
Ribbons?
to a loved one. Well, the thing is, during the holidays, that I wouldn't just give to them normally. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you could give them a
unless it's just
very
holiday.
festive collar.
Yeah, that's the
There's all
theme for the
sorts of
holidays.
ways.
So,
There's
so
all sorts of ways to incorporate theme
my
into
mind
kink,
went
too.
to my mind went to gifts you would give someone who isn't a loved one, like just a friend or something, that are maybe sexy or kinky, only because like
And
you
your friend
already would
maybe
give your loved
get
one
them
that.
a really nice cane or paddle or something. Not to use
So
on you, but just to have.
someone in chat said the red and green peggings. Oh man, that'd be festive as shit.
Festive as hell.
I've always thought about getting the stereotypical like little bow wrap lingerie, but that thing looks so annoying to put on at the same time.
Nah,
So I
like
have
fishnets.
wanted this so much, but also like I keep having like terror that I'm gonna accidentally like pinch myself trying to tie the ribbon.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it and I'm just like, oh my god, I want that so much. And then I think about it, like I would find a way to cut off circulation to my nipple or something. I don't trust myself.
Didn't you have? Because I remember, so last year, Mouse made a bunch of AI art like lewds, and somehow, which kept like looting her like extremely when she was just like giving it photos of herself and like a hoodie, if I remember correctly. But wasn't there one of you
Yes.
in like the ribbon?
I gave it as picture of me in a hoodie and it put out an image of me naked and I was like, what?
Yeah,
Why?
I
And
remember
then I was
that.
like, okay, I don't trust this. Yeah,
I'm pretty
it was
sure one
very
of them was
upsetting.
you in the ribbon outfit too, like the Christmas one, the red one.
Yeah,
I
I
remember.
think so. And I didn't post most of those because they were not safe for work. But I was not telling it to make NSFW stuff. I was just playing around with it because it was like a thing, and it was, yeah. I gave it a picture of me in the hoodie, and it just went off.
I just feel like that would rip really quickly too, the ribbon one. Like
I think it
one
depends
wrong
on the quality. Like I've seen some really good ribbons that I probably wouldn't necessarily trust to not give some serious rope burn, but they're probably not going to tear either.
maybe.
I think it really depends on the tire as well.
Yeah, that's probably true.
All I can think of is somebody trying to tie somebody with like that really thin freaking
Oh, the like curling ribbon.
yes, curling ribbon.
So Nedger says if
It
it's
would
on.
be a fun. You know how a lot of people first starting will make like paper cuffs and stuff, and is the testing brain work, please, god damn it. That way, if at any time you're uncomfortable, you break those cuffs, scene ends.
I've got to stop you because you said paper cuffs, and all I could think is like those like the
paper
finger
ring.
ones. Yeah.
Oh yes, finger traps, the Chinese finger traps.
Put all 5 fingers in the finger traps, and you can't escape.
That'd be pretty fun.
Set Nedger says if the ribbon's on long enough,
popped into my head.
if the ribbon's on long enough to give rope burn, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Okay, counterpoint. A really good like satin ribbon would be really pretty, but I don't think it should also be the primary tie. Also, let's talk about this. those really pretty photo shoots of bondage and Christmas lights, very pretty, not functional. Do not try to do a scene in Christmas lights. Do
Oh yeah, you
not.
can burn yourself real easily. That
Well, not only that, but like if one of those bulbs breaks, there's fire hazard, there's shock hazard, there's glass hazard. I mean, if you really want to, you could do maybe those like really heavy duty outdoor LED strings that are meant for outdoor that aren't going to break, but also don't make that your primary tie. You should maybe wrap that around a rope or something, but also make sure it's heat safe and not going to burn you. Like, this is something that you would want to look for maybe a rope or a bondage rope. I'm pretty sure they probably make bondage ropes that are specifically for that kind of thing that
I
would
bet
have
they do.
LEDs in them. I'm 100% certain somebody, if they
It
haven't yet, whoever's
that's
making kink stuff
yeah.
out there, corner the market on
It would
this. Somebody
not be
wants it.
hard to do that because the LED strips at their core, you can easily wind that into a wire tie. Like there's no reason you can't, because that's all rope is just braided cordage, and you could easily just make one of those an LED strip. Like there's absolutely no reason why you can't.
Exactly. It wouldn't have a whole lot of pull, which would be the downside. Like, a lot of rope does have a little bit of give to it. So it would not be a very good rope or a very comfortable rope, but it could be a little bit more functional than Christmas lights. It's pretty in pictures and it's great for photo shoots, but guys, please, 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 please do not try that this season. Do not go in and trying to do a scene with regular ass Christmas lights you got for $2 at Walmart on
I
sale.
wonder,
Do not,
I
please.
wonder if you used a really strong LED strip and you braided some cord around it so that the LED strip was just hidden in the center. I wonder how well the effect would, like the light up would like make the ropes glow from within. It could be really cool.
Not gonna lie, I got a really I ordered some LEDs and I thought they were just like the regular like twinkle LED lights that I get for like $10 and I just throw them around the house because it looks pretty and festive. Well, these were like super heavy duty and I was fucking shook at how heavy duty these things were. And I was looking at them and realized that they must be outdoor graded, but like higher than regular outdoor grading for LED strips because these were fucking girthy. Like, I was shocked at how girthy these were for how much I paid. And I was actually thinking that these would probably be safer to use if you bound them up with like a silk ribbon or something. Like, if you were to take like a silk rope and like bind this up with it, you could probably get away with it, but I still wouldn't suggest struggling too hard just in case.
I was about to say, I wonder how like rope lights would do for like decks and stuff. If you make a thin cover for them, that'd be pretty easy to slide that on.
Yeah, but it would also be really hard to tie that.
It would. But
Like,
you
those
get a
rope
lot of
lights, I
it.
can't imagine them getting really secure. Over
Well,
here talking about the
I feel like
physics of tying off Christmas light bondage. Look
if
at
it's
us.
for
it
like
could
a
be better
boudoir
to just do a mix of regular rope and then add lights on top of it.
Yeah, I think that if you were gonna do it, like maybe a heavy duty LED string over top of a really good tie would probably be fine. But, you have to be careful. I keep seeing images of this, and I have seen posts reminding people, and I hadn't even considered that we should actually probably remind people that is not safe. That is just for pictures. It's just for pictures unless you are really doing your research and looking for safe routes to do this. And for all sake, please do not try to do any hanging shibari ties with Christmas lights. Everyone will have a bad time, including the fire department. Please don't.
You don't want to have to explain that to the fire department, man.
I'm sure it's not the weirdest thing the fire department's heard this week, but please don't, guys. Please don't. Don't be the story they have to tell every Christmas from now on.
I think they should be the story. Be the problem.
Oh,
Stop letting life hand you problems and be the problem first.
be the entire problem. Set your house
general-
on fire with Christmas light
That's
shibari.
Just remember to use common sense when you're putting anything on your body, in your body.
Especially in your body.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not gonna tell you more than once. Do not try to fuck a candy cane. You will get an infection.
Ooh.
Yeah, buy
I've
the red
heard
and green
people
pegging
doing
set.
this, like the big candy canes. Don't do this, guys. Don't. you will get an infection.
I
I
could
feel-
see it being as like almost a substitute for knife play. You know, when you make it sharp on the end. That'd be me. I'd be down for
Okay.
that.
I just had this traumatic thing. You know how sharp they get? Like, what if when you were like having fun with it down south and it got real sharp?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, like don't do that, guys. We all have trauma around sharp candy canes. Don't do
But
that.
again, not urethra play either.
Oh God, let's not talk about sound,
Yeah,
please.
you get
Yes.
that cringe too now.
Don't
Se-
use regular candles for candle play or wax play. You will get burnt. Yes, that is correct. We don't use regular candles in candle play. Make sure you get the ones that are meant for wax play.
Yeah, I haven't always listened to that.
I mean, you take a risk if you're using
Here's the thing.
candle
I've
that's
never
not
used a
high
candle
quality
on someone that I didn't test on myself first.
Yeah, but
So I
sometimes when the
knew it
candle
wasn't gonna.
burns down, the wax in the center will have a different consistency than the wax on the top, so you do have to
Yes,
be
that is
careful with it. Highly recommend being careful with that.
even
Get a
even
nice
with
little
the
wax
even
former.
even the ones that do have lower melting temperatures that are meant for play like that, test it on yourself first. Just make
Mhm.
sure, you should know how hot it's going to
I
be
think
before
a
you're
good
ever
rule of
touching it
thumb
to someone.
is if you're not willing to do it to yourself or test it on yourself, you shouldn't be doing it to a partner.
I mean, I don't want to get pegged, but
Don't you?
not particularly. For me, that's
Gotta have a little idea.
no, that not for me. That's not for
I'll be sure to let Drow know.
The hex strap. That's unfortunate.
I'm sorry. I tried, Cat. Sorry.
Listen, I'll do a lot of things. That's not one of them.
Oh my god. I'm still thinking like I'm not getting past the sharp candy cane thing. I'm still traumatized thinking about that.
Sorry. Not sorry, but sorry.
Talk about the elf on the shelf being a voyeur. 'Cause I'm pretty sure
Oh.
he is canonically.
I just saw a video that did a parody of I saw daddy kissing or not daddy.
Mom.
Either way, but I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus and it was essentially a cuck situation. I'll find that video again for you in the future, Mouse. But they found Santa off of Craigslist. It was a great song.
I'm so glad that this is the relationship we have, that we just send each other cursed stuff. I sent Kat a picture that I found on somewhere of a really thick, cheeked up Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, it didn't
I
come
think she
out
showed
during
me.
the Hear Me Out video, but Cosmo and Wanda on that list.
I found this really cheeked up picture of Cosmo, and I was like, you know who needs this? Cat.
Cheeked up on Tuesday.
Oh, he was so cheeked up. Oh, I was watching some history archaeology news update on TikTok, and they found a statue of Hermes buried face down in a sewer, and all I could think is, damn, that statue's got cheeks. Holy shit, that is a cheeked
Yes.
up Hermes.
I mean, should it really shock us that so much of the holidays things can be kinky, given that all of
Boudoir
our
shoes?
current holidays come from like the kinkiest fucking shit they could think of back in the like, of course Hermes was caked up. All of the gods were caked up back in that time. There wasn't an uncaked up.
I mean, realistically, there wasn't much to do in the winter, too.
I am absolutely going to find the caked up statue for you guys.
Thank you.
Doing the important work here.
But like boudoir shoots get super popular during holiday events for things, especially kink themed ones, because those get given as gifts a lot to different partners.
There you go, guys. It's in the private chat.
Oh my god, give me a second. I can bring it up in stream.
I sent you the video in private chat too.
Perfect.
It takes a second to load. But yeah.
Look how cheeked up that statue is, though. I can't get over it.
And there we go. Now stream can see it as well.
He was a runner, a track star.
I'm looking at the
Found in
stream and I
Bulgaria.
can't see it. Oh, there it is. It was in Bulgaria. Of course, Bulgaria had the cheeked up Hermes statue.
I mean, they're just living their best life over there.
They really are. I also feel like it's a little kinky. He was found face down in a sewer.
Yeah, I wonder how we got to get down there.
For
Well,
real.
that was actually what I was watching the video about. They were talking about why he could have been down there, and
Oh, God.
I was just like, why does he have so much ass?
We know where the priorities are in the booty.
Somebody took a great deal of care carving those cheeks, and you can tell. That is perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
think about that song, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's giving cuck. It's giving cuck.
Or
I mean,
it's
that's what
giving
it is.
roleplay.
It could be giving role play.
Face down, ass up. There's a reason they call it Greek when you eat ass. Do they call it Greek when you eat ass? I don't know that I've ever heard
I
eating
haven't
ass
eaten
being
ass,
called.
so
I mean, if you're stabbing him in the back, you could call it Caesar.
eating it from the back.
at two pop.
I don't know. Et tu brute still seems to work too. Oh my gosh. I really need somebody to yell at tu brute while being railed from behind. I just need this.
Was it? And of course, we haven't talked about the horniest holiday yet, which is, Easter. I don't remember the name of the
I do love being nailed on a cross. I mean, what can I say?
Fuck it.
I don't remember. It was like it's a mix between. They kind of took stuff from an Egyptian god I can't remember the name of, and I think it was a Greek god that I can't remember the name of, right? To make
Asteria and Ishtar.
Ishtar, yeah, that was the
Ishtar isn't Greek. Ishtar is
Egyptian.
no.
And whatchamacallit?
Ishtar has analogs in Egypt, but Ishtar was, I think, Assyrian. Yeah, Babylonian, Assyrian.
Yep.
Ishtar is older than Greece by far. Ishtar has
Sumerian.
Literally the goddess of, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Love, sensuality, fertility, procreation, and war. Things go hand in hand.
There's no mistaking why bunnies are the current analog for Easter, because they also literally fuck like rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I blame my breeding kink on. Babylon.
Bunnies? Do we need to have a talk, Will?
I got ears.
I'm blaming the Babylonians.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Listen, it's historical.
You
It was
brave the
passed
Babylonians for your breeding kink?
Yes. I'm 50%. I'm 50% Romanian. Okay. The civilization of Babylon passed a lot of its historical culture around, including to the Romans and whatnot, and to the rest of Europe, including Eastern Europe in a major way. So, that just gets passed down. It's the Babylonians. They caused me to be.
I almost just blurted out some random information I heard this week about the invention of the wheel actually being likely from the Carpathian Mountains. And I was like, that would be a really weird take to go into a kink podcast.
No,
but that is news that I heard this week. I listened to an archaeology based podcast, and there was a whole thing they were talking about the theory, and they just came out with a really interesting like computer model explaining why they think the theory is true. But I think it was somewhere in southern Ukraine, maybe, that they're saying they think that the wheel originated, the first use of the wheel used in mining carts in the Carpathian Mountains in old mines, because the original mines were just deep, straight trenches. And they theorize that they started using pins and then it slowly turned into pins with wheels on the end that were used in mining carts. And part of the reason they theorize this is true, because the drinking vessels that they used in that region were wooden carts with wheels. And they think that they were so proud of what they invented for their mines, they used them as drinking vessels. And then from there, they started using them in farms, and, the wheel spread from there. It was really interesting. And I ended up going a deep dive about it because I was intrigued about the wheel actually being used first in mines. Because if you think about it, we used the same exact design for mine carts up until like 100 years ago. It just never changed. We just kept using identical mine carts for centuries.
Well, I mean, there's only so much you can iterate on what is basically a fucking wheelbarrow.
Yeah, it was basically a wheelbarrow. But yeah, that was the theory that they were raising, and they think that the most likely development of the wheel first came out of mines in the Carpathian Mountains. So there you go. We've now had Educational Archaeology Hour on the Kink podcast. You're welcome.
I think you do have to specify that it's like the wheel as an implement on a vehicle specifically to move it, or like
No, this is where they think the wheel came from, and then they found other uses for it over time.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can say that, but a large part of the big theory on how very ancient cultures used to build massive things is that they would roll things on.
We're predating this by far.
And
we're not talking about rollers. Like, rollers are completely different inventions. Rollers existed prior to this, but they weren't wheels.
They're not attached to a vehicle. They're not a wheel per se, but they function the same way as a wheel.
We're talking about two different things. A roller is not a wheel. The wheel itself, we're not discussing it as a wheel until it's turning on an axle as a wheel. Or, on a millstone or something. Those things are a completely different invention. There is a stark difference. Could they have been using log rollers? Absolutely, prior to this. In fact, they most likely were, because it's a pretty obvious way to actually get things to roll.
But the only way you turn a roller into a wheel by just chopping off the ends and attaching it to an axle. It's the same engineering mechanic.
It's a lot more complex than that. Like, actually figuring out how to get the axle, how to attach it. Like, there's a lot of advances you have to get to that point. So that's why there was such a huge amount of research going into it, and they did a lot of research. I think they had like a computer model that generated like 1,000 different ways to go about it, and how it was most likely developed, starting at like a point of like a roller, what they were trying to do. If they were trying to push a cart through a mine, like what would be the best way to do it. And they developed basically the same exact model as these drinking vessels that they found in this region that predated anything else with wheels that they knew of. And there was also a very big difference between the ones found in the mines and how old those were. And most of the wheel examples we see in places like the Middle East that were able to turn, which is a much bigger development. So clearly those would have come after, a wheel that was able to turn as opposed to a wheel that's set and only goes one direction.
Yeah, that's fair.
So interesting facts about wheels, guys. You're welcome.
I feel like I should be taking notes.
I went on a deep dive about that like last week.
You need to pop quiz us later.
Saw an article just earlier today where apparently they've uncovered like some of the oldest human fossils they've ever uncovered inside Europe now, and now there's questions coming from just like yesterday and today. They've started about like where humanity might not have originated from, like the Jerusalem area. Or deep in Africa, but maybe from Europe potentially.
Oh no, that's been a conspiracy theory for a long time. I don't think anyone seriously thinks that. I think that it's pretty clear that humanity came out of Africa, but it could have been earlier than we first suspected because it was clearly spreading out of Africa earlier than we thought, and we keep pushing the date that it came out of Africa earlier and earlier. But
Maybe.
there's very, very likely that previous human species before the ones that we know left Africa likely did. For those of you who do not know, I actually have a background in ancient genetics. This is actually something I enjoy, and I did read similar articles. Yes, we do keep pushing back the date the humans or humanoid ancestors left Africa. It's very likely that waves spread out and died out before they really took hold in those regions too.
You'd know better than us.
I mean, I don't think anyone really knows for
Observing.
sure, but clearly there's very, very old fossils we don't expect to be there.
This is all cool. I'm just absorbing.
I just like history. I'm a fucking nerd, okay? If you can't tell, I'm a little autistic.
I took both AP World and US History in high school. It was great. The teacher was great, so it made everything else great. We bribed him once with the Marvel comic. Great. But
Yeah, yeah. I just liked history. I took as many history courses as I could, and then I took every archaeology and ancient humans courses I could in college, and decided I wanted to get a dual degree in forensic and ancient genetics because I fucking like genetics. Why not? And it gave me a chance to take a whole bunch of archaeology courses.
I went the other way. I went space, astrophysics. That's where it's at.
See, that's great and all, but I actually figured out pretty early I'm good at math, but I don't like math. Just don't. And all physics is spicy math.
Yeah, I don't like to pay attention to the parts that don't have to do with the astrophysics part. You want me to calculate apogee and perigee and like that kind of like delta V given a specific ISP of a rocket and a volume of fuel? Like, sure. You want me to calculate the air resistance of like a train on the planet? No, thank you. I'll calculate a path to Mars. I can do that.
Yeah, so I remember I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I'm great at math, actually. I just really don't like math. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just because I can do it doesn't mean I enjoy it. It's like being good at cleaning does not mean I will clean your house and enjoy it for free, you know? I'm not gonna enjoy the process. I can do it really good. That doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah, I can
Found out the
do.
hard way. I
I
hate
used
math.
I used to be good at like the puzzle math kind of thing too, where they'd give you like a whole bunch of like shapes and you'd only have some of the angles and you have to find like what these angles were by doing all the different.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Do you remember
I can
that
do that.
game? Do you remember that game 24? The
No,
math game.
no, I don't think I ever played.
So basically, it's a flashcard with four numbers, and you have to, depending on the game, some of them were just addition and subtraction, but others you could use multiplication, division. But I think I played like the one where you could multiply, divide, add, subtract, and you were given four numbers, and you had to find a way to make the four numbers in that card reach 24. And everyone at the table had an equal opportunity, and the first person to tap it and give the correct answer that got to 24 won the card. I was actually the school regional champion for that fucking game. And I
I
didn't
have.
even realize it was a competition that had a championship. And I won my school's championship and I was like, cool, I'm just gonna get the reward. No, I had to go play at the state level.
I have played similar things. I haven't played that exactly. There's a
Yeah.
British show, very funny. Usually has a lot of comedians on and other actors. Eight Cats does Countdown. Well, Countdown is the actual original name of the show, but they play a version of that where they get a bunch of. I think they get like six numbers in a series. They can choose whether they're big numbers or three digits or small numbers, and they randomly generate a target. And whoever gets closest gets the points for that game essentially. So it's just like a variation of that essentially. I'm not great at that. I'm not super amazing at.
I was good at it begrudgingly. I wanted the reward for the game we were playing at school, so I tried really hard to win that. And then my punishment was having to go to a state championship. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? I didn't even know this was a thing.
No, QI is good, but no. Countdown. I always prefer Countdown. Sean
What
Locke,
I
you
ended
was
up
one of the
winning,
funniest comedians I've ever seen in my life.
do you know what I
Missed him.
won?
All right.
I
What did you
won every single box set of that fucking game. All of them. Even the
that's a
fractions
gross
one.
reward.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
gross.
I was like, this is disappointing. You mean I was so good at math, I won more math? This is punishment.
No, that's
See?
that's
Gotta go
the
my
pizza
route.
party. That's record-breaking profits in your building and being given a pizza party is what.
I didn't even know I was going to the championship for the state. I thought it was just like a school thing. I had no idea that the reward was a punishment, and that punishment meant more math, and the reward for that more math was even more math.
When you fuck around and find out it's a math brat. Yep, that's
My gosh, I was not having a good time. All I wanted, I think it was like you got like it was like extra credit for something. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get those extra credit points that I could apply to any class. It was something like that.
Oh,
It was
see,
something
that's a
that was good
valid
enough
reason
that
to
I
do
was
that.
like, fuck, I'm gonna get that. Like, I'm good at this game. I can win that. And I did. And then next thing I know, I'm being told that I'm gonna go play at the state championships. And I'm like, what? That's a thing? What do you mean there's a state championship for this?
Yeah, I would never want. Dude, that was in a lot of clubs in my high school that did like state programs, and I don't think I ever competed in any of them. I would have wanted to do it in debate club because we did have a debate club, but our debate club was not one of the clubs that had participated in any kind of programs like that. So we didn't have like competition. We just did. It was all internal. So
Fun fact,
I missed out on any.
This is the same way I ended up at the state championship spelling bee. I did really good on a math test that I thought was just like a big math test. No, it wasn't. It was a trap. It was a trap. Next thing you know, I'm having to go to these after school programs to like learn more words that I didn't want to learn to spell. And then I'm at this spelling bee thing and I'm really pissed about it, but I was told I couldn't just quit, so I did it and I did too well. And then I had to do another one.
I know that game. I remember that game.
Yep, this is the game. It's called 24. This is the game that I did really well at. But yeah, my school would do this kind of thing where they would just be like, oh yeah, you'll get a bunch of extra credit points if you do this. And I was like, cool, I like extra credit. And then next thing you know, I'm being sent off to go compete in something. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I mean,
Why do I keep doing this?
they want the bragging rights of saying, hey, we send kids to these state programs, or if you win that, these national level programs.
Doing either.
No, of course not. Well, they don't want you to know that. It's not for you. It's for them that they're doing. That's why they bribe you with extra.
Yeah, I was like, cool, I want those extra credit points. Next thing you know, I'm being carted off to some extracurricular with a traumatized look on my face. Like
you were math pimp. And
basically, yes.
Yeah.
I went into crops judging for FFA for the possible scholarships. Ain't none of us get none of those scholarships, but we made it second in state.
Yep.
You were agriculture pimped out.
Did you even know that biography or was it? No, it was geography bees. Did you know those existed? I sure didn't. And I fucked around, found out, and ended up in a geography bee.
Doesn't surprise me.
And I'm sitting over here going, I didn't know this was a thing.
I'd never want to compete in one. I'd do pretty good though. Thanks to playing a lot of Total War games, I know my geography pretty.
I remember that I knew the name of some lake in Africa, and they were like, "Congrats, you're going to the geography bee." And I was just like, "I'm what? The fuck is that?" But they asked me a question in class, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's lake." I was like Victoria or something, and it was a total guess. It was like the only lake in Africa whose name I knew. Next thing you know, I'm going to a geography bee, and I'm just like, I'm what? Fuck. Trying to remember if
Right.
there's anything else stupid I got looped into.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to do any of that shit. I didn't want to get looped into. I was dealing with my own
Yeah.
shit at that time. I didn't have time to be doing that nonsense.
I was also president of art club, president of the mural club, and I was in choir, I was in orchestra. Not only was I in orchestra, I was also in the trio and the quartet that played weddings for my school. And the school got paid, I did not.
Of course.
Yeah, it was a whole thing, and I was always in all these extracurriculars, and
Well,
I
listen,
kept getting looped into
you
more, and
got
I had feelings about it.
you got paid in like credits and like I don't know
Pats on the
reputation.
back.
I guess I don't. Yeah, pats on the back. But you know, you got to pay your pimp. Your pimp decides what you get paid. You don't get to decide that for yourself, Mouse.
Yeah,
That's right.
Trust
Paid and
me.
exposed
Yeah.
is a
Basically,
triggering word for any art.
and people are like, "Hey, Mouse, why do you not play your instruments a whole lot anymore?" Well, you see, I was forced to for years for no money. It wasn't appealing.
But the exposure.
Nope.
I'm not going to ban you for saying I got paid in exposure. Please. I'm going to ban whoever actually legitimately suggests that next time they try to book me for something.
And now, funnily enough, she spends a lot of her time just exposing herself for. Got
Wow. Called the fuck out.
I made a.
What's funny is it's metaphorical and physical.
I'm right on many levels.
I expose myself in my memes and my photos.
Mm-hmm. And by wanting me to be into tentacles.
Look, I didn't
Expose yourself
have
in lots
to.
of.
You did that to your damn self. I even
No.
called up Drow to see if
No.
he remembered. He
No.
said you volunteered it.
Of course he would support you, but you
And your
can go back and watch the episode.
reminded us. Your girlfriend reminded us that I mentioned tentacles on the side, and you got real invested.
I don't know what you mean, but that's
I think
true.
we're gonna
That's
need
true,
to
set
play
measure,
the
but
clip.
that's
We're
for
gonna have
other
to pull the clip and play it just
Oh,
for
go
Will.
ahead. Try and find it. Try and find it.
And that's when that entire episode goes missing.
Delete the entire back.
Knew it.
YouTube Shorts probably got it somewhere.
There's a lot. I need to convert more stuff to shorts. I have not bothered in like way.
Yeah.
Technically.
And you are correct. I have no OF or family. I'm just out here for free.
She got so used to being paid in exposure, she doesn't know any other way.
Nah, man, it's tax reasons. People don't believe me, but like, I really
No,
don't
I
do
know.
it
We've
for
talked
tax
about it.
reasons.
Yeah. It is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm on disability. Like, I'm not gonna like be trying to make bank on OF or Fansly and then have to explain to the government why I've got money.
And
Well, you
lose
see,
all
I
of your
have titties.
yeah, and lose all of your health benefits for doing so and all of your disability
Yeah.
for doing so. It's ridiculous.
I can't justify it, so I won't.
Yeah, and that's the problem because we all know she wouldn't make under a certain amount, so she can't.
Yep, exactly. So, like, God forbid I have a really good month and then have to go explain to the SSDI office.
No, it's
Oh my
ridiculous.
God.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's becoming more of a talking point recently in our culture
Yeah.
how bad our disability service is, especially in regards to the fact that they're not allowed to make their own money.
terrible.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
like I wouldn't be surprised if that changes
Basically,
at some point.
if God forbid I have bills or something, this month alone, I do not have enough money to make my ends meet. I had to go into savings to pull out what little I had in savings just to cover this month. And it sucks. Being on disability is fucking terrible. And I don't actually make a whole lot of money doing social media stuff. Every so often I'll have a good month and maybe get $100. Sometimes I do more, but Facebook doesn't pay out. So, Facebook owes me a bunch of money. Like, I just don't have steady income, and I'm not allowed to. Not allowed to.
Ye-
I can't do anything that is like a set income. I can accept tips, but I can't accept anything regularly. I can accept tips, but I wouldn't do anything like OF or Fansly because it would be a quote unquote job, which could negatively impact me.
Would it be tax fraud if somebody else like owned the account but just paid you out?
I'm pretty sure. Oh my gosh, imagine trying to explain to somebody that, well, you see, I'm a freelancer. What do you freelance? Stuff.
Yeah, no, because I've actually brought that up to her before,
That's
but
the thing.
it doesn't. It's still she would still probably end up having to explain why
Yeah.
she's able to get regular
'Cause
payments in this way,
OF
and they're
and
still going to
Fansly,
consider.
they pay out via,
Yeah,
they
No,
do report it.
so what I'm saying is OF paying out whoever else owns this account, and then that person just paying you under the table.
it's yeah, no. Well, under the table, Mouse would be able to do it, but then that's
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah, under the table, anyone can do it. It's just, not legal.
I mean, the account's in just one person's name.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that are like quote unquote possible, but definitely not legal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have known, like I'm not gonna out anybody, but I know people who are on disability and their only option to make enough money to pay their bills is to sell drugs and things like that. Because that's the only option they have on disability.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I've known people like that too.
Yep. And they just have to do everything in cash and it sucks. But it's a really shitty system. So like I have things on my beacons that are like, I think my cash apps there and stuff like that. Like I can accept tips and I accept tips for like my memes and stuff like that, just like helping offset the cost of running my page and stuff like that. But that is literally all I accept is like tips. And I have a Ko-fi, and it would be just for like the art that I do for the page, and that would be it. And it would only be tips, and it would never be enough to actually
Lots of
negatively impact my disability.
She's all about the
Hmm. Just the tip. That's the policy.
That's just for a minute, just see how it feels.
Just testing the waters.
That's right.
But yes, this has been all about kink and holidays, because that is totally everything we talked about
Yeah.
today.
Well, we did talk a decent amount about it. Kept getting sidetracked, but that is what it.
We ended up with fuck the government, which is, I think, exactly how that ends.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the kinky holidays got ruined by the government.
Yeah.
much.
Don't they always?
Well, or Christianity.
Well, I mean, let's put it
Yeah.
this way. Who fucks harder than the government? Because that was something we were talking about.
Who was the government for a while?
That's true.
I mean, we're all getting fucked so hard by the government, so it is kind of still kink. It's just CNC.
Oh no.
And we
I can't
ended
remember.
talking about how I'm unwillingly being fucked by the government. It's just CNC.
There was an E3 Mafia poem. E3s being corporals in the United States Army, Armed Forces. But there was some poem, blah blah blah. I can't remember how it goes, but it ends with, "I just wish someone would fuck me like the United States American government," or something.
This is something we joke about with Twinkie, who's in our server, who is a member of the U.S. Army, and we talk about how he used to sell his booty for money, and now he just sells his booty to the American government for money. Because basically, it's the same thing. You're still selling your booty.
I'll never be happy. I'll never be free till I fuck someone like the Army fucked me. That's
beautiful, beautiful.
There's a bunch of like variations of that. I fucked girls with really large breasts, and as long as I live and as old as I will be, I'll never fuck as hard as the Army has fucked me. All kinds of.
Yeah, that sounds correct. That sounds correct. Oh my god. But yeah, this is pretty much entirely on brand.
Yeah. Oh, what are we? Because it has been an hour. What are we talking about next?
Well.
Well.
We could talk.
I don't know.
We could talk about services like OF and Fansly and the implementation of that in Kink.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a big topic nowadays since those are like
Yeah.
acceptable things
Yeah, I think
to
we could
most
actually talk about that because
people.
we've actually touched on that and some of the limitations. I think that would be a good topic.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Okay. So, we'll talk about, I don't even know a good way to phrase that. Service websites in
Yeah,
Kink.
service
Yeah, okay.
websites in
Service
Kink. I think
websites in
that'd be
Kinks.
great.
Yeah, okay. All right. That'll be, are we, and then here's the second part of this. So the next episode would be on the 27th, which is 2 days after Christmas. Are we all good for that? I think I am.
I think I should be fine too, as long as I every so often get super sick right after the holidays. Just an FYI for everybody. I think I'll be fine. I haven't been sick yet, but like if I get something at Christmas, I will let you guys know in advance.
I should be okay. I might have some family in town, but things should work out with it.
Yeah, I think we can usually take an hour out of a night. As long as I'm not super sick, I'll be down.
Okay. So we'll consider the 27th then. If we're not here on the 27th, we'll be here 2 weeks after that. Too lazy to go look at my calendar to know when that is. But hopefully we'll be here again on the 27th. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this episode of the Starbright podcast. And have a good 2 weeks, everybody.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye everyone.